deposit.
How would they decide my fate if they didn't have my health history?
Yeah, then that would make sense, and they will. But from a direct deposit thing, yes, you give them for reimbursements or whatever else, you'll give them access to your bank accounts that they can basically have a two-way thing too. I do that as a military member. It's called direct deposit. It's a scary process.
Do you believe that we need to make a concerted effort before it's too late to get Acorn out of our system?
Oh, yeah.
We are putting tax money into this, and they are destroying this country.
The question is about Acorn, and my answer to that is yes. The government should not be involved in anything with Acorn. We have proven that they are not a bipartisan organization. They have a right to exist. They do, as any organization does, but not at the government's dime. Absolutely not at the government's dime. Who has not asked a question that really wants to ask one or two shots? Sir.
You said that we will know indefinitely where you stand on any issue. What are you going to do? I mean, because all politicians care when they're wanting to get elected.
Right.
You know, Democrat, Republican, whatever.
That's true.
What are you going to do to make sure that you know where we stand?
Well, I think this is, I just started my campaign and we're doing this. This is what I think is important. There's 700-some thousand people in the district, so obviously I can't meet with everybody. I mean, it's just impossible. But the best thing to do is you have my commitment that no matter how tough the issue is, no matter if people are fired up on the side that I'm not on, which is the healthcare debate right now, I think we're all fired up here about it, and it's the side she's not on. No matter what, I will come face the music. And I will come listen to you. I'll come tell you what I'm thinking. The answer is just town hall meetings, door to door, meeting folks in coffee shops. That kind of stuff is how you stay in touch with people. Obviously, as a congressperson, you have to spend some time in Washington, D.C. That's where the work's done. But on your weekends off, and especially August recess, some of those other recesses, you need to be in the district and you need to listen to people that are paying you to do the job. So you have my commitment to keep doing forums like this. And I think, without trying to, I say this very humbly, I hope it shows my view and my intention to do that based on the fact that this is a very, very delicate issue, healthcare, that people are very fired up about. You never know who's going to turn out, but I still believe that even just as a candidate for Congress, it's important to stand in front of you and hear what you have to say. So, sir.
I appreciate your age, and I appreciate your ability to use technology, which, if I didn't believe in what you were saying, I wouldn't say this. But so my question to you is, how are you going to use the technologies the way Barack Obama did to really fire people up and keep communicating with people? And we have an older group of people in Princeton to be able to touch them as well as the young people that do get fired up. So I'm sure that's something you've already thought through, but I'm hoping that you're working really hard on it.
But from a technology perspective, something I might zone out when I start using some crazy words here. Our internet site is very successful. It's very good. If you haven't been there, it's electadam.com. Go to electadam.com, please. Sign up, volunteer for updates or whatever. A very good website, I think. I think it's strong. We were probably the top. I don't like to talk about necessarily money in a race because a lot of people will say, well, it's all about money. It's not, but to run a successful campaign, you have to raise money. What I'm happy about is when I got back from Iraq between May 15th and June 30th, we raised over $120,000 from 335 different people. Many of those donations were folks that gave $100 or less. So what that shows me is people that are excited about the campaign to give what they can, and that's what's important to me. A lot of that was done on the internet, believe it or not. Especially after Debbie's cap and trade vote, by the way. It was successful for that, for the country. As far as Facebook, if anybody uses Facebook, if you don't know what I'm saying, just see what the color of the paint is for a little bit. But we have over 1,079 friends right now on Facebook, which probably puts us ahead of even some incumbent congressmen in their Facebook thing. Our site is, I think, Elect Adam is the Facebook, or just type in Adam Kinzinger and you'll find it, the fan page. Twitter, I'm trying to use Twitter more. That's very hard for me because I don't think anybody cares what I'm doing all the time, but I guess they say I use Twitter, so I'm trying. But these are just that kind of thing, is to really have that technology accessible and for those that use the internet, for those that use email, to really be like that. I've tried to make it a personal goal that anybody that writes into the website with a question, and there's a lot of them every day, and maybe some in here have. It's my goal to personally, either by email or by phone call, to respond to everybody. As the campaign gets deeper and we get more, it may be tougher to do, but that's my goal, is to respond to everybody. Because at least to let you know what's so if you're an internet user and you haven't checked out the website, it's electadam.com. Easy to remember, just check it out. And sign up, and there's a little thing, tell your friends. Does that fully answer your question, hopefully? And then, for those that don't use technology, of course, we're going to, for any of you that got that automated phone call from me, I know that can annoy some people, but that was the best way to get, the word out for what's going on here. Then we'll do our traditional ways to win a campaign. But the big thing is just go to people and tell them what you think. I think that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Okay, last question. 3, you had it up. If we keep it short, we'll do the 3. I got sir, ma'am. We'll start in the back and we'll go.
Okay, I have excellent health insurance.
Okay.
No one wants to lose what they have.
Right.
But there are a lot of people in this country that have lost their jobs and lost their health insurance in the meantime. And they probably don't want government intrusion in their medical decisions either, but yet they need medical insurance.
Right.
What is the solution to allow people to get temporary medical insurance until they can get a full-time job again?
I think you said the key word right there. I've enumerated, some of my ways that we need to address the cost of health care and make it more accessible and make it more affordable. But I've also said that when all this is done, when we address these problems, we're going to make it more accessible, more available, all this, more people will be able to afford and get health insurance, maybe through tax breaks or whatever. When all is said and done, there are still going to be some people that cannot afford insurance and that need it. And that's where I think there may be a role for the government to help in the temporary to afford private insurance. But I don't think the answer is for the government to create a brand new insurance company competing with private insurance companies and robbing our trust funds and our raising taxes by a huge percent and spending money we don't have. So I'm very sympathetic to it. I do not like to see anybody without health insurance. And so I think if there's, after we implement some of these changes, if there are still groups of people without it, that's where the government, in a very temporary manner, very short-term manner, ought to consider maybe helping. And there may be some that disagree with me with that, and I fully respect that. But that's a decimal of a cost of what we're talking about in this bill right here. The first thing we have to do is defeat this, and we have to talk about our alternatives. Yes, ma'am, you're next. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll try to be fast.
Okay.
I just wanted to say I've gotten more into doing something about things than I've ever done in my life.
Good.
And I've emailed a lot of these congressmen. I've heard from some of them back. And of course, Debbie I haven't heard from. It is very hard. She will not talk to anybody that's not one of her constituents. No, she won't answer if you're not one. And I had trouble getting my last name or something. Somebody up in Wilmette or somewhere, some gal that's been on TV, what's her name? Judy Biggers?
Judy Biggers, yep.
She answered with a wonderful letter, great stuff in it. I've also called the fishing line to tell them what they're doing that's fishy. And I found out that I've been there forever. Yeah. And I also called Barack Obama's, you get the White House. Okay, they'll take down everything you say. And they did. I gave them